What is good, everyone? So today on this YouTube video, I'm going to break down my rig build for my FX30, which I use for a lot of commercial projects. So starting off with the camera, obviously we've got the main body. I've at the moment got the Sony 33mm sniper lens on here. I really like this for an autofocus lens. I think it's really cool and cinematic and has quite a bit of character. Then the most important part of any rig is the camera cage. And we have the tilter camera cage here for the FX3 or FX30, and I chose to get the cool looking grey one at great expense, to be fair. So we're gonna slot that on there first of all. And the cool thing about this cage, as with most cages, is it comes with a nice little tool on the bottom, which makes this bit quite a bit easier. And one of my favourite things about this cage is you have the removable top part, which in this case is a nice NATO rail which goes on top. So it gives us plenty of mounting options for our top handles or monitors or anything like that. Now the only downside about this is it does limit your use of the hot shoe on top. So obviously if you're running like the handle which goes with the FX30, which I don't actually have with this camera, you wouldn't need that anyway. But yeah, you can't access the hot shoe, so that's just something to bear in mind. So now the main cage is on, I've also got a HDMI clamp which goes in here. Now I've found this to be a bit awkward because it doesn't fit all HDMI cables, so you need to be careful with the ones you get. The best one I found for it is the Portkeys AK Coaxial one, which they sent me a while back. This is one of the only ones I found fit in it, and the barrel fits in there with a right angle as well, which is a bonus. So I would recommend picking one of these up if you don't want to waste money on buying numerous HDMI cables like I did for a couple of months. So now the cage is attached. The first thing to go on is going to be the V-mount battery plate. Now this is one I actually got recently. It is a small rig powered V-mount battery plate. I was sick and tired of swapping out V-mount batteries. Everyone died, or trying to, if I want to move it, I had to unplug everything. So I've got a powered one, which I would highly recommend. So first of all, I need to pull the monitor out. And the other thing I like about this is it has a monitor sort of grip holder, which sits on the side and protects your monitor, which I didn't like before, and I actually broke my monitor by this problem last time, which cost me nearly £1,000. So I would recommend getting one with a monitor protector. And then we can just line it up to see where it sits flush, which is around about there. The other great thing about this is if we wanted to fold our monitor back in to keep it safe, say we were traveling or something like that, we've got this little system here where we can pull out our monitor, fold it down and tuck it back in. Now that's smart. And the other thing I like about this one as well is we've got a little lever under here which we can move the whole thing back and forth without having to take the camera off. So if we're cable managing or anything like that, or the actual plate sitting too close to the camera, we can move it back. So for now I'm just going to leave that tucked out a little bit, just so when we do our cable management it's not going to get in the way. So on the bottom of this I'm actually going to put two rods, and that's going to sit on this small rig base plate with rod inserts on them. And the reason I do this is in case I wanted to mount a follow focus or anything like that, or for my example where I'm not using a manual lens, I just find it much more comfortable to be holding onto the rods from underneath than the actual camera. It just gives me a bit of a sturdier base. That does obviously mean that we can't fold down the V-mount battery plate, but for me it's not really a big deal. If I was going to go traveling, I wouldn't use this anyway. So now we have our plate all sorted and the base of the camera set, we can start mounting the things on top. And for that I have the tilter handle here which connects directly into this NATO rail in the middle and just screws on like so. And I had to spend extra to get the colour I wanted because I'm fussy. Now that's on, let's chuck our monitor on. So for this I've got the Portkeys PT6. I'm actually getting an upgrade in a month or so to something a little bit more sturdy and fitting for this rig, which Portkeys will be sending me, so I'm looking forward to that. But for now this does the job brilliantly, and definitely for the money a PT6 is definitely worth it, especially to anyone who's just starting out. I think they're like 150 quid, so it's a brilliant monitor for anyone who wants a monitor on a budget or just something kicking around the house. So next up I'm going to slide the V-mount battery on. This is the newer 99 watt V-mount battery. It usually lasts me, to be fair, with this rig a good 5-6 hours without needing to charge it, so it's plenty for what I'm doing at the moment. And also I forgot to mention, all of this stuff I will be putting links down in the description, so if you want to go pick up anything for this rig, you know exactly where to go. And that just slides on there like that. See, no cables, no hassle. Before I put anything else on, I'm just going to cable all this up to get our cable management in, so we can see nice and easy. I just picked up these power USB-Cs off of Amazon for pretty cheap, to be honest, and they do the job, and they're right angles, so they tuck away nice and clean, and this all sits back here. I'll show you something really cool about this V-mount battery plate in a second, which I really like and is great for cable management. And then of course we've got a D-tap for the monitor as well, and then I like this little hole you get in the handle which you can kind of thread things through. So I do that, and then last but not least, our port keys HDMI, which are going to slide into the HDMI clamp. And also, if you haven't got one of these multi-tools, probably one of the best things that I bought last year, one of these small rig multi-tools. Super handy if you're on shoots and you need an Allen key, or you need a flat surface to be able to do anything up. So as I mentioned earlier, the cable management on this V-mount battery plate is really good. So we can just slide it out like so, and it has these tiny little clips in which we can just clip our cables into to keep them nice and tucked away. And it even has a Velcro strap which they can sit behind and keeps it nice and neat and tidy. And then all we need to do is just slide it back in to kind of where you want it, and there we go. So what's the most important part of any rig build? Matte box. So this is the Tilted Mirage matte box. So I've got the adapter on the front here, which I'm just going to screw on, and then the matte box just slides on like this, and there we have it. Looking pretty good right now. So last but not least, we have my mic of choice, which is the Comica VM40. This is a fairly new mic, and the thing I love about it is it has 34-bit internal recording, which is super handy when you're running and gunning and don't have time to set audio levels. This can also directly go straight into the camera, and once you press record on the camera, it automatically turns on and starts recording, which is super helpful. So to put this on the camera itself, I am going to use this NATO clamp here, and on the left hand side of the FX3 or FX30 cage there is a lovely little NATO rail which we can just slide it onto there, clamp that on, and then attach the base mount for the mic. And just like so, we have a fully rigged out FX30. I'd say that weighs probably a good couple of kilos, so it's not light. I do also like to put a NPF battery onto the monitor because it kind of trickle charges it, and also means the weight distribution is a lot better. So beforehand it was quite back heavy, especially with this lens where it's not that heavy. That kind of balances out a bit. Also, with charging for the actual camera itself, I don't use a dummy battery. I just don't like the way they look or feel. So this directly trickle charges the battery inside, so I never have to worry about changing batteries or a dummy battery sticking out the bottom. So the way this battery plate works is there is a button on the top which basically powers everything. I can just press on and off on that, and once the camera is actually powered on and the monitor is actually powered on, that controls everything. So that is my breakdown of the FX30 rig that I use for day-to-day shooting and running on content for clients. So if you like this video and want to see more content like it, please subscribe, drop a like on the video itself, and drop me a comment below if you think there's anything that could improve this rig, or if there's any questions you have. And like I said before, there will be links to all of this stuff in the description. I'll see you in the next one.